You've heard many scam stories, but have you ever heard about a scam in which a man sold the Eiffel Tower as scrap metal twice? By 1925, rebuilding and maintaining the Eiffel Tower had become extremely expensive. Newspapers were talking that the Paris government was thinking to sell the old, rusty steel, the scrap that came from painting and maintenance, as scrap metal, and use the money to cover repainting and repair expenses. Lustig used this rumor to his advantage. Lustig, whose full name was Victor Lustig, was born in Hostené, Bohemia, at that time part of Austria-Hungary, now in the Czech Republic. In childhood, along with schooling, he learned 5 languages: Czech, German, French, English, and Italian. In his youth, between 1908 and 1912, Victor Lustig committed many small crimes in Prague, Vienna, and Zurich, like petty theft, pickpocketing, because of which he also spent a month or 2 in jail. Then he learned to cheat in card games, poker, bridge, billiards, and began conning wealthy players on cruise ships. On Parisian ocean liners, Victor gained people's trust with his charm and elegant attire. He called himself a Broadway musical producer and wore fancy suits so that people would start investing in him, when in reality, he was a con artist. All this experience made Lustig into a confident, multi-skilled scam artist. He was always in pursuit of his next scam. The newspaper report about Eiffel Tower maintenance filled Victor Lustig's hyperactive con mind with excitement. He thought, if I sell this historic monument's 7,300 tons of iron as scrap, it could be the biggest con in the world. Then Victor Lustig, to raise his credibility for the Eiffel Tower scam, first had forged government stationery made, on which his title was mentioned: Deputy Director General, Ministère des Postes et Télégraphes, including official letterhead and the French government seal. The purpose of this step was to convince dealers that he really was a high-ranking government official, carrying a government mandate to dismantle the tower. Then he arranged a confidential meeting at a luxury French hotel, the Hotel de Crillon, where he invited scrap metal dealers. A limo and beautiful setup created an illusion of legitimacy. In the meeting, Lustig said that the government had planned to dismantle the tower, that this was not public information, so it was a secret transaction. All the dealers sent in their bids, but Lustig targeted the most confident yet insecure one, André Poisson. When Poisson asked detailed questions about the process and confidentiality, Lustig calmly and politely explained that everything was top secret, and this deal was only for selected people, which strengthened Poisson's trust. Then, in a private meeting with André Poisson, Lustig had him sign a formal contract in which Poisson committed to buying the Eiffel Tower's scrap metal for 1.2 million francs. After that, Lustig requested a bribe of 70,000 francs, 20,000 upfront, and the rest on completion, which Poisson paid. In this way, Lustig netted approximately 1.27 million francs. As soon as Lustig received the money, he caught a flight to Austria and left. A few days later, Poisson realized he had been scammed, but he was so ashamed he didn't even report it to the police. A few months later, Lustig returned and planned a second round with new dealers. But this time, the dealers were very clever. They suspected Lustig's fake identity and informed the police during the meeting. Sensing that the dealers had tipped off the police, Lustig calmly exited the hotel and fled Paris. A few days later, he moved to America. Once Lustig shifted to the US, he launched another scam he called the Romanian box, or money-making machine. It was a mahogany box with brass knobs and gears, and it had 2 slots, one for a real bill and the other for blank paper. He told his victim this box would duplicate money. Just wait 6 hours. He took a $100 bill from the victim and inserted it into the machine, along with a blank sheet. 6 hours later, 2 notes came out, $100 and another $100, meaning their money had doubled. But the real trick was that the box already contained a pre-planted note, meaning one note emerged that the victim had not inserted, and the other was the planted one. When 2 notes came out, the victim thought the second note had been printed from the blank paper. Later, the victim would take both bills to the bank for verification. The bank approved them, convincing the victim the machine was real, not a fraud. Then Lustig sold the box for $10,000 to $30,000, or sometimes even up to $120,000 to a Texas sheriff. The most genius part was the 6-hour waiting period. It gave Lustig enough time to escape if the victim discovered the cheat. Victims were too embarrassed to go to the police. Facing people like that, Lustig became a master of impersonation, flashy demos, and victim psychology. The box, bank authentication, delay, escape, all executed in perfect sequence. Then, around 1930, Victor Lustig, along with Nebraska chemist Tom Shaw and engraver William Watts, started a massive counterfeiting operation. Tom Shaw developed special ink and paper that looked like real dollars, and Watts created plates for banknote production. Lustig used the alias Robert Miller and hired couriers who didn't know about the actual production to distribute those notes. The gang circulated around $100,000 worth of fake $100 bills monthly, which reached banks and racetracks and caused widespread trouble. The U.S. Secret Service took the problem so seriously that they formed a special task force to stop the scam. In May 1935, Victor Lustig was arrested in New York City. His mistress, Billie Mae, secretly tipped off the Secret Service because she was furious he had deceived her. The police found a locker key on Lustig that fit a Times Square subway station locker. When they opened the locker, they discovered $51,000 in counterfeit $100 bills, and the engraving plates used to produce them. Proof Lustig had run a major forging operation. He was sentenced to 20 years in Alcatraz, the most secure U.S. prison. On March 9, 1947, he contracted pneumonia, and 2 days later, on March 11, 1947, he died at the Medical Center for Federal Prisoners in Springfield, Missouri. His death certificate listed his profession as apprentice salesman, an ironic twist because he was, in fact, a master con artist. Lustig's story teaches this lesson: audacity, research, charm, and greed combined can make even the most unbelievable cons possible.